What would $100,000 a month do for you? What would $100,000 going in your bank account of just pure assignment fees do for you, your wholesaling real estate business, you financially, and really your entire life? Guys, in this video, I'm going to give you my entire $100,000 a month business guide, business systems for you to actually go out here and make as much money as possible in your wholesaling real estate business. Guys, this is going to be seriously like a huge 100K a month business boot camp thing. If you're going to pay thousands of dollars to go behind a stage and learn how to do all this stuff, this is going to be the info I'm going to give to you. If you want to learn how to get to $1 million a year, that's right. This is the video where we're going to break down how to make $1 million per year. I'm going to give you my business structure. I'm going to show you how much I pay my people. I'm going to show you exactly how to go there, especially from making no money at all, and actually how to scale. This is going to be the video for it. And if you're somebody out here that wants to go out here and actually scale your business, this is going to be the video for you. This is going to be not for the faint of heart, but this is honestly the stuff that I wish somebody taught me. Unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way, trials, tribulations, and all these things, and really just going to share with you exactly how you can do it so you can have as much really success as possible. When it comes to scaling your wholesaling real estate business, I'm telling you, there's only one really easy way to do it. And that's from just starting from, the bottom and then just moving your way up. Now, I'm going to tell you a big secret. And this is because I'm not charging you $7,000 to go on my grandpa's yacht, all right, and learn wholesaling real estate on a scaling thing. We got our nice watches and we're eating our caviar and we're talking big talk, right? I got my suit on. I'm not doing this, okay? What I'm actually going to do is show you how to scale a business effectively in wholesaling real estate. Most real estate wholesaling gurus, scaling people that tell you to scale it, most of them haven't scaled a business before or their own wholesaling business. They don't show HUDs, they don't show deals like we do, but we always do that. We always show exactly what we do. They always copy one person and they always copy one system. And it's probably the greatest system I've found on scaling a wholesaling real estate business effectively, how to pay people, how to train people, actually how to keep a business like that rolling. And honestly, it's a book. It's called Traction from Gino Wickham. It's a $17 book. And basically what this book does, it really just shows you how to build, create a vision, and scale up pretty much any type of company. It's very general for just small time businesses and scaling them up. They call it the EOS, the Entrepreneurship Operating System, I think. It's a great book. But what I'm just letting you guys know, this is a big secret. I'm going to get in trouble for exposing this, but this is the truth. Most gurus copy this book word for word, and then they'll sell you a $6,000 course on how to do it. That's it. Like literally, if you were looking to scale up a wholesaling real estate operation, you just go there and it's all in there and it shows you exactly how to do it. It's actually crazy how it works, but you go here, it'll tell you how to pay people, how to train them, what your thing should say, and all this stuff. So like, for example, I scroll in this book, I'm going to look here. This gives me pretty much what your revenue should look like and the teams you should have year 1 through 3. Like it's very fascinating how, year 2 to 3, and how to actually scale up effectively without really causing too much issues with everyone and issues just in your wholesaling real estate operations. When we look at scaling up an operation, right? Here's the truth. We're at about $1 million a year is the goal, or like, 100K a month. Now I know my handwriting's terrible, but that's the goal, right? We want to make that money. We want to get rich. We want to make all this cash. That's kind of the goal for it, right? Now, to make $1 million, honestly, when you're doing the math here, it's probably going to come down to 67 deals a year. That's, in my personal opinion, that's what I've pretty much figured out. About 67 deals more or less is what it's going to look like. It could be more, it could be less, it could be all these things, but honestly, about 67 deals at about 15K a deal is probably going to be where $1 million is going to be at. And a lot of people see that $1 million to get really stressed out. Like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? Oh, really, if you really want to break this down and just simplify it, it really comes down to more or less 6 deals, 6 a month. That's really it. 6 deals every single month. That's the way. If you want to make $1 million, you just got to do 6 deals a month. Now, if you can effectively get to 6 deals a month, I don't think you should have any problem in your wholesaling real estate business. Once you had 6 deals a month, that's not the goal. So now we know we got to do 6 deals a month. I don't think you're going to get too stressed out over that, because once we figure out 6 deals a month, we can just reverse engineer the math on that and figure out what we can do, right? And so my best obvious advice, and everyone says this, like, how do I start? Do I go solo or do I get a team starting out? In my personal opinion, this is a pretty easy flow chart to do. All right. Now you just got to look at your own business. All right. Ask yourself this question. Are you making 100K a year? I think this is a legitimate question and something you need to ask yourself. Are you making 100K a year? If the answer here, we have a yes and a no, right? Honestly, what I found, if the answer is no, go make it. And then we kind of go back to this thing. Oops. That's honestly what I found. I hate to say it, but if you have not made 100K a year in wholesaling real estate, I don't think we should be focusing on scaling to 100K a month. The point of scaling to 100K a month, and this is just what I tell everyone, and this is the easiest way to do it, go from making 100K a year, and then what we're just going to do, we're going to make this like an equation, and we are just going to 10x the result on that, right? We're just going to multiply how much we're making by 10, which will make, $1 million a year, right? Oops. Boom. Pretty simple, pretty stupid, but I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer to say that, but it's the honest truth about scaling up a wholesaling real estate business. So we got to make 100K a year first. Once we hit 100K a year, we got to figure out how I'm going to 10x that result to make $1 million a year. And a lot of people complicate. It's actually not that difficult. And so the thing is, now we're at 100K a year. So let's do this. So if yes, then you got to make that decision. Once you make 100K a year, should you do solo? Should you not do solo? What do you do? Here's what you got to look at. Do 100K for the year. And I kind of have this little system I've been telling people a lot because it's honestly the truth, but you just got to look at how many hours are you putting in a week, right? This is the honest thing. How many hours are you putting in a week to make 100K a year? That's the only question you really have to ask yourself. If you figured out that you are putting about 40 hours a week, that means to 10x that result to make $1 million, you in turn have to do 400 hours a week. Now, I don't 24 times 7. I mean, let's say you work 12 times. I mean, there's not even 400 hours a week for a single person to work. This is the main issue. Like, right? Like, this isn't good. I can't work 400 hours a week. What am I going to do? Like, this kind of sucks, right? Here's the thing. Of course you can't work 400 hours a week, but you need to work 400 hours a week in your current wholesaling real estate business to make $1 million. So what do? If this number seems impossible, then we're just going to have to get a team. I mean, 400 hours seems impossible, but with 400 hours a week, right? So if I'm looking to make $1 million, I got to work 400 hours a week. You can do it like this, all right? Let's see what your 40 hours a week consists of, okay? This is the secret to scaling, all right? And I know this isn't the sexiest video in the world, but I'm just telling you guys the secrets of scaling up a wholesaling operation that no other guru says. We're going to probably do 8 hours that week in basically, let's do drawing for dollars. Maybe we put 4 hours into cold calling. So on the marketing side, we're at like 12 hours. All right. Let's say, we'll say that. We'll do 12 hours. Let's say you spent, let's add an extra one on that, right? Let's do 22. Say we did 22 hours of marketing. Oops. Spent 22 hours marketing. I look on the acquisition side, and let's say you spent 4 hours on follow-ups and then appointment. That means on this side, 22 hours, spent 4 hours, and let's say you spent 26, right? 14 hours because you really suck at cash buyers, I don't know, on just basically dispo, 14. So that all comes into 40 hours, right? Okay, that's your regular week. You make 100K a year doing that, and that's not terrible, right? That's not a terrible thing. But now we figure out, we do the math here, okay? Call this marketing. 18 and then 4, right? We're just gonna have to have zeros on everything. That's pretty much it. So 180 hours, 40 hours, 40 hours, and then 140 hours. That's it. I can't do this all myself, right? This makes zero sense. Well, here's the cool part. 180 hours, 40 times 3, let's do 4. Do 4 cold callers. 40 hours on the drawing for dollars side is probably going to be 3 drawing for dollars people, probably at $15 an hour. Follow-ups, keep that for yourself. Let that be solo, right? We'll make you be the solo guy in there, and then we'll have a dispo VA. Dispo VA probably do that too. Probably going to be 4 of them, and you see how much they're going to cost you. So it's going to spend some money, but this is how you're able to do 400 hours of work to make $1 million a year, right? You want to get $1 million a year, you're just going to have to 10x the results. And you got to do that by scaling out and finding employees to do the work for you. That is the goal. And that is actually how you go from 40 hours of work to 400 hours of work without actually you working any more. You just change the methods that do it. And so when we look at scaling up and we look at a wholesaling operation, okay, we look at the MVT. All right, everyone knows MVP, but this is going to be the most valuable time. Guys, time is the most precious commodity we have as human beings on earth. And so we got to figure out what's our time best spent in wholesaling real estate. We'll have the lowest tier and then we'll have the highest tier, okay? Honestly, what I have found, and we'll kind of make it a scale like this, the highest value that we have in wholesaling real estate is probably closing sellers. Closing sellers still to this day will probably be the most valuable part. I can't hire a VA to go do that for me and get really good results. But cold calling, just asking people if they want to sell their property for 8 hours a day, it's the least valuable of my time because I could hire someone $4 or $5 an hour to do that. And then from there, we kind of have more stuff, right? We have follow-ups, which I can get someone to do it, but if they mess up, it's not good. And then you have dispo. And really marketing at the end of it is really the least. Now, this is, I know, very like a big contradiction of what I usually say because I always say, hey, marketing is the most important part of wholesaling real estate. And that is 100% completely true. But you got to remember with marketing's stuff that you can scale out really easy. Like me texting people if they want to sell their property, I can hire someone $5 an hour to do that. I can't hire anybody $5 an hour to do this really elite. I can get really cheap people for elite to do these things though. And remember, if you have 10 people calling, that's better than one good person. And it's kind of like the economies of scale on a battlefield, right? Of course, we looked at 300. And everybody loves that movie. And it is sort of a true story. The hot gates and that great stuff. I love that. I absolutely love that movie. I love history. I love listening to that stuff. But 300 men did take on 100,000 Persians. It's amazing. But the problem was, yes, those pound for pound, the Spartans were way better warriors than the Persians. If you got 10 versus 10, it's over. Unfortunately, for the Spartans, when you have 100,000, you can hold them off for a while, but 100,000 is still going to overtake the 300. And so that basically means 10 people cold calling VAs, even if they have accents. Overall, at the end of the day, after a bunch of weeks, they're going to do 400 hours of calling is going to beat your 40 hours of calling just because there's so many of them. And the overwhelming majority of calls going in, you're just going to get a lot more low-hanging fruit, and that's how it works. So you got to look at your most valuable time. And so this is when I look to scale out an operation. I scale this one first. So I hire the cold callers first. I hire the marketing team first. And then from there, I'll hire a dispo person, a junior acquisitions person, and then someone to close my deals for me. It works in that order. So whenever asks, how do I start scaling up my wholesaling real estate operation? Seriously, all you have to do is start scaling from the bottom all the way to the top. That is it. And so when you look at doing it solo, you can do it all yourself, but you're going to have to do like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 deals. And that is possible, but for most people, they can't really do that. So you got to be very, very important. So I have this thing. This is really my 100K a month action plan I've been telling everyone to do. And then after I give you the action plan here, I'm going to really give you exactly my plans of exactly how to go out here and structure your business. And so really, this is going to be my action plan guide. Your road to 100K a month. This is really simple. This is really rudimentary, but it's really probably the best roadmap you're going to get for scaling up a wholesaling operation. And it's really 4 questions. Okay. We're going to put this in red because it's important. All right. Number 1, look at your income. This is how I tell everyone to scale up their operations. Look at your income. All right. We'll get a little box right here so we can do our little worksheet. All right. Number 2, after we look at our income, remember, what's our income for the year in wholesaling real estate? How much money did we make? First and foremost, we got to look at our income. And then what we're going to do is just divide your income by the desired amount you want to make. So probably in this video, we want to make $1 million a year, right? In assignment fees, cold hard cash. We're going to divide that by $1 million. So we'll make a little box right here. We're just going to do divide $1. So let's do this for example. I currently make $75,000 a year. Let's just use this as an example. I make $75,000 a year. That's probably what the average guru probably makes in assignment fees. I would say if they're not broke, but they don't make much money. It's kind of sad. So I'm assuming a guru is watching this and they want to learn how to make more money. And really, let's do this. All I'm literally going to have to do is divide that $75,000 by that, okay? And really doing the quick math right here, dividing it. And so I'll just go on here and do it. 75 grand divided by $1 million is going to be 7.5%, which basically means I'm 7.5% away from my goal. That kind of sucks, right? That means I have to minus that by 100%. Sorry, I'm doing that math wrong. I'm about 7.5% away from my goal. Once we figure out we're 7.5% the way there, we got to get to 100%, right? And so really all we have to do is just divide that number by that. So really what I'm going to do is then step number 3, we are going to find our multiplier. Find our multiple. And really how you find your multiple is you just divide that $1 million. So first of all, we know how far we are from the goal. We're only at 7.5%. Shoot, I got a lot more work to do, right? So now what I'm gonna do is just flip it. I'm gonna divide that $1 million divided by that 75K I made. And that's gonna be my multiplier. That's gonna be how much I actually have to scale up. So I divide $1 million by 75,000. That means my multiple is 13. What does that mean? Basically what that means is I'm going to have to multiply my results by 13x. If I could get 13x of whatever I'm doing, that is what I have to do. That is my roadmap to $1 million. That is what I call the multiple. And, you know, I kind of quote it as call people, it's your effort multiplier. So that means your effort multiplier right here. I'll make it all fancy for y'all. Oops, we'll make it darker. The amount of effort I have to put in my wholesaling operation has to increase by 13x. Pretty simple. That's how I make $1 million. Pretty simple. So all we have to do is, next step is now make a plan. Make a plan with 13x more. So pretty simple. So if you are doing, let's just do this. Let's look at the current effort. All right. Let's say I'm doing, do this. We'll make it easier. We'll do a driving for dollars example. Let's say you're doing 100 driving for dollars leads a month. Not terrible, right? Let's say you're doing 1,000 government calls a month. And let's say on top of that, you're putting out maybe 100 letters for, let's say, probate a month. Okay? Let's say that's what it is. And so now we have to give it our times 13. That's going to be our new action plan. So this is pretty simple, but we are just going to times 13. All right. That means if I want to scale this up, I'm going to have to do 1,300 trying for dollars leads a month. I'm probably going to have to do 13,000 government list calls a month and probably send out 1,300 mailers. I know that's a lot, but if this result is yielding you $75,000, then we have to 13x that and go from there. That's it. I know it seems like a lot, but if you have employees who are actually going to do it for you, it's really not that difficult. It's really not that difficult to do it. And so really, it's, I get in trouble for explaining it this simply, but that's what it is. And all you got to do is just scale slow. And so my top advice for everybody is just to scale slow. You don't have to do that in 1 month, right? In my personal opinion on this, I would start adding, this is what I would do instead, all right? I'd go out here, and of course I know that's the main goal. If I want to make $1 million, I got to start doing that. But I got to scale slow. What I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to add an extra driver, do one driver at, let's say, $12 an hour, and they are going to yield me an extra 100 drawing for dollars leads a month. We're going to start them off slow. Maybe I add an extra one, maybe I add an extra one the next week, and we just start scaling up one employee at a time. That is it. We're just gonna have to start scaling up a little more. Now, I'm not telling you to go hire 50,000 employees, but I'm saying start scaling it up slowly and you'll make a lot more money. Okay, I'm just telling you, you gotta scale up very slowly and you'll do well. And eventually you wanna get to a point where you have your whole business delegated out. And so you don't really have to work in that business anymore. So everybody asks, Zach, what's the perfect business structure for it? So I'll give it to you. You're going to have to deal with my terrible handwriting, but heck, if you're ready to deal with it, I'll give it to you. Okay. So this is basically my business structure for it. All right. And so if you're a person looking to eventually get to, let's say 100K a month, this is the structure I would say. So you are going to be at the top here, pretty you, right? You're going to be the top dog. I would say if you want to get out of this business, you don't have to have someone like this, but I think if you want to get out of the business, work 4 or 5 hours a week in wholesaling like I do, I would probably have a COO who kind of runs most of your operations for you. And then from there, they are going to be doing a lot more different. They're going to basically do every aspect for you, right? And so there's 3 aspects in our company, and for every company that scales, you pretty much got to do. You have marketing right here. You basically have your acquisitions. You can call it sales, but let's just call it acquisitions to be safe, and then just your dispo. All right, buyers, marketing, and dispositions, and they are all connected from the COO. Goodness, I have terrible handwriting, but whatever. All right, you kind of see it's like that. Okay, this is written so badly. Let me make it look clean. I know people are going to screenshot this, and then I'm going to get roasted. So, all right, let's get really. I don't think I helped that at all, but whatever. Okay, underneath your marketing, let's do marketing for a second. Okay, underneath marketing, you could have a lot of these things, but in my personal opinion, I think you should have a VA marketing manager. Now, this is when you're scaled up, okay? If you didn't pay 10 grand, you probably never even heard what a VA marketing manager is. What they basically do is they train the current VAs to a point. Of course, I'll have probably a COO do it, and sometimes me starting out. But I'd have the VA marketing manager manage all the marketing and make sure everything's going out and make sure everything's kind of flowing the right way. Some people have an in-house one, but some people don't. But really, a VA marketing manager is probably what you're going to need underneath your VAs. And then from there, you kind of I have about 3 VAs I use. Not like only 3, but 3 types of VAs. First, you got your cold calling VA. Cold calling VA is going to do cash buyers. They're going to do sellers, kind of that whole thing, right? And then on top of there too, we're going to have basically what we call SMS VAs. Best way to do it, they handle your SMS, smsact.com. That's what they kind of do. Now, I don't want to get in trouble on the other guy. So we'll make another little chart here. And then we got what we call basically the list. Now the list VAs are just going to pull the list for us, the government list, all these things. And that works pretty well. How much do I pay these people? Pretty simple, roughly about $50 every single deal that they do. So $50 per deal. And then really just it goes up. Our companies, we'll do about $250 basically weekly for them just because we're nice people. Used to be $200, but really we're making a ton of money, so it's fine. And then really for your VAs, depends on what you want to do, right? I do a $4 to $5 an hour base. And then on top of that, I add incentives. So about $25 per appointment. And then we like to pay them per deal too. So we have high margin deals, so we'll pay 50, but if they're lower margins, you can get away with 40 a deal. And really that's the best way to pay the VAs. Now for the list pulling, they don't get paid per deal. They're about $6-7 an hour to do it. And really that's how we pay the VAs on that end. Now for the acquisitions, we just kind of have an acquisitions manager. So these are basically our sales staff. There's no which way butts around it. Most people only need 1 or 2. They get about 10% of the deal. There's no which way around it. I think you guys got to pay at least 10% of the deal. Like whatever money you make, you got to give 10% of the deal to the acquisitions manager. I'm a huge proponent on paying your acquisition staff as much as possible because I still truly believe they make you the most money. And they're the hardest ones to train because acquisitions managers are actually personally trained by me. I still train my acquisitions managers, and whenever I have to get a new one, I have to stinking train them myself. There's nobody else better than me and Rick. And honestly, I don't trust anyone else besides them to do it. And it's a lot of work, but hey, it's honestly keep the business flowing. That's what it's got to be. On top of the dispositions now too, dispositions actually not that difficult. You have VAs under them too, but I kind of keep the cold calling VAs all in one now. I would say for dispo, you need 1 to 2 agents. These are ex-realtors or current realtors. We have current realtors for ours, and they'll get about 8% of the deal, which I know seems really high, but that's just for wholesaling. Okay, those are for the assignments. They'll probably get about 5%, maybe even 6% of if they list it just flat, if we're just doing a regular wholesale deal. And really, we like to pay them very well. And that's of the profit, okay? That's not of the whole, that's not like a commission. They just get of the profit, right? And then you got your cash buyer VAs too. Cash buyer VAs, okay, I didn't really mention that on here. But our cash buyer VAs, I think they're $6 an hour. And then I think $25 per buyer they find. So pretty simple on that end. And that's really kind of what a decent operation looks like, right? It's not fancy. It's not huge. I think if I count my own operations, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15 max, I would say. And so I think I'm kind of at that max point. I think 15 max is where you should be at. I think comfortably you can be at, let's say we don't have a COO, you do it yourself. So I think you can be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think for most people, if you want to make $1 million, I think 8's probably going to be the best. Once you start getting the millions and tens of millions, you can get to the 10, 12, 13. But I think 8's probably going to be the best one for you there. But honestly, when you're scaling up our operation, I know it's probably mind-numbing, that many type of leads out here. But really, you're looking up to scale up an operation. You're looking to make $100K a month, right? And you're looking to even get above that. You're going to have to start treating wholesaling real estate like a legitimate business, because this is a legit business. And once you start treating it like a business, you talk to employees, you actually treat them like real employees, you pay them well. It gets very stressful for most people. And so in my personal opinion, I think you go with the marketing first. That's your first hire. You don't have to do acquisitions dispo first, right? Deal with the marketing. And then from there, I would probably just still get a marketing manager. And then you start getting cash buyer VAs, start maybe getting a real estate agent you can pay on the deals. And then you get an acquisitions manager. Really, I can go forever on how to train acquisition managers and train all these people. But honestly, if you go to freewholesaling.com, my free real estate wholesaling course, I share a lot more on actually how to do all these things. I break down even more into detail. I get a lot of hours of marketing training for VAs, a lot of how to find VAs, how to deal with VAs, all these things. I would probably just go to freewholesaling.com to learn exactly how to do it the right way. But really, that's my honest opinion. If you're looking to scale up a real estate wholesaling operations, just go to freewholesaling.com. You can learn exactly how to do it, and it'll probably lead you to wholesaling real estate success.